going to be learning about the Book of Jonah. Alright, so I'm going to do a quick view of what you can bring with you. So you can bring your Bible, or you could just sit back and watch the video. You don't have to follow along, but you could just sit back and watch the video. So these are the things that you can have if you're following along. So you can have some sticky notes so they can help you. Or you can have a notebook, which is, I prefer better. You can have a pen for your notebook, a highlighter, and I already said the Bible. So that's all that you can bring if you want to follow along, or you can bring more stuff. So we're going to pray. So you can close your eyes and bow your head. Okay. Oh, if there's anybody close to you, then you can hold their hand. Of course. God, thank you for letting us have this channel for the kids to watch, so they can learn more about you. Thank you for the kids that are watching this video, so they can learn a lot more about you. Thank you for everything that you have been doing to these kids. Thank you for blessing each kid that's watching this video. Amen. Alright, so now we're going to get into the story, which is one of my favorite parts. So, let's see. So, I'm going to ask questions in the at the end of the video, and I'm going to ask one question right here, which is it's not really a question, it's going to be a statement because I'm going to say the answer, but y'all can definitely pause the video to hear the question, and then you can answer it. All right. So who wrote this book? The prophet Jonah wrote this book. All right. So a prophet means that a prophet is somebody that like God told to talk about his name. So that's a fact that I'm gonna be sharing with y'all again later in the day because later in this video because there's a story that prepares with it. All right. So a message came from the Lord. A message from the Lord came to Jonah, the son of Amittai. The Lord said, "Go to the great city of Nineveh." He preached against it. The sins of its people have come to my attention, but Jonah ran away from the Lord. He headed to Tarshish. So he went down to the port of Joppa. There he found a ship that was going to Tarshish. He paid the fare and went on board. Then he sailed for Tarshish. When he was running away from the Lord, but the Lord sent a strong wind over the sea. A wild storm came up. It was so wild that the ship was in danger of breaking apart. All right, so that whole part I was just reading, like, it reminds me of something that I felt like I did one time. So I'm not gonna tell y'all yet, but I'm gonna explain to you. So when this part, it's talking about like how when God told him when God told him to go to Nineveh, he didn't want to. That's the part they're really talking about right now. So the whole thing about the part I just read was that he was just trying to tell him to do something good, so he can forgive him. But Nineveh turned the opposite way, and he turned the opposite way, and he went to Tarshish. So we're gonna read more. So all the sailors were afraid. Each one cried out to his own God. So God for help. So I'm gonna stop at that part because that is one of the fun. I have a fun fact. So if you look in your Bible and you're reading with me, and you see a lowercase g, that means that they're fake gods. And you know that they had an S in the back of it. There's only one God. So that's another way that you know that it's a fake God. But when it's an uppercase G, then that means it's the real God. Okay, so let's see. They threw the ship contents into the sea. They were trying to make the ship lighter, but Jonah had gone below deck. There he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. The captain went to him and said, "How can you sleep? Get up and call out to your God for help. Maybe he'll pay attention to what's happening to us. When he won't, then we won't die." All right. Well, it's basically the same thing about the thing I said. It's just adding on, but I want to say he went below deck and slept. And when he said something about like he'll pay attention, you notice that when he said that their gods weren't paying attention because they weren't paying attention because they're fake gods. So I'm gonna read the rest and let's see what happens next. There is what the sailors said to one another. Someone is to blame for getting us into all this trouble. Come, let's cast a lot to find out who it is. So they did, and Jonah was picked. They asked him, "What a terrible thing you have done to bring all of us in this trouble. On us. Well, tell us, what do you do for a living? Where do you come from? What is a country? What is your country? What people do you belong to?" He answered, "I'm a Hebrew. I worship the Lord. So y'all probably, some people that are watching this video and they don't know some stuff, they don't probably know what worship is. So worship is basically where you're talking to God in a song. So you can make up your own. It's just worship that where you're talking to God in a song. So let's carry on. He is the God of heaven. He made the sea and dry the land. They found out he was running away from the Lord. That's because he had told them that. Then that became terrified. So they asked him, "How could you do a thing like that. Alright, so I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to tell y'all something. So, right there, when they said, how could you do such a thing, or how could you do a thing like that, they started believing his God. She started believing his God, so he started believing his God. So basically, they started believing his God, and then they started when they pushed him off. That's later in the story. When they pushed him off, they just started believing and believing and believing. They started crying out to God. They started doing things that they had to do for God. All right, so the sea was getting rougher and rougher. So they asked him, "What should we do to make the sea calm down?" So, see, that part where I just said that now they're believing and believing. This is the part where you can understand that they're believing, because some people don't understand it, but they are starting to believe and believe, and they're asking that question because they're being like, should we worship him? Should we talk to him? Should we do things? Should we do things for God to stop the storm? So now you know that that's why he said what do we have to do to stop the storm? So let's see. Pick me up and throw me into the calm. No, pick me up and throw me into the sea, he replied. Then it will become calm. I know it's my fault that it's a terrible storm. The storm has come to you. Alright, so I want to say, later in the story, I said that the page that we just read a couple of minutes ago, said something familiar with go through it, and I think I passed the part. So basically, when the prophet and all that stuff, it was at the part, it was to 10, 11, and 12. 10 and 11. So they were that's the part where I was talking about a prophet, because they said he was the Lord of heaven. He made the sea dry, and he made the sea and the dry land. So and at the other part, on the down part, it told you that he was saying, he was telling them about God, on this part and on the down part. So that's the part I was talking about when I said a prophet. So let's see, where would said, but the men didn't do what he said. Instead, they did their best to throw him back to the island, but they couldn't. The sea got even rougher than before. Then they cried out to the Lord. They prayed, "Please, Lord, don't let us die for taking this man's life. After all, he might not be guilty of doing anything wrong. So don't hold us don't hold us responsible for killing him, Lord." They took Jonah and threw him over board. The stormy sea became calm. See, when y'all say, like, that's a miracle that God did, because he did something that surprised all the people just that learned about God, like, just that day. So that was like a big miracle for the people that didn't believe in God saw. So when you say like other things are a miracle, but it's not like church based off, that it's kind of not a miracle, because like something like that is a miracle. They were in danger, so like that was like a miracle. So let's see. Calm. The men saw what had happened. Then they began to have a great respect for the Lord. They offered to sacrifice to him, and they have made promises. So I'm going to read a little bit of part 2, and we can read the other half on the next day, or we can read it later. So we're going to stop at part 3 of 2. So let's read it. Now the Lord sent, this is part 2, Jonah prays to the Lord. Now the Lord sent a huge fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was in their belly for 3 days. Wait, we're going to stop right there, because y'all might be like, why would God do such a thing? Well, I think he was trying to teach him a lesson. So he got the whale, and he got the whale to swallow him. It's not really mean, because he was trying to teach him a lesson. He was okay. I think Jonah was okay. He prayed, and he was okay. So he got thrown out the well, which is what we're going to be talking about the next time. So I'm going to finish reading this. So Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. From inside the fish, Jonah prayed to the Lord his God. He said, When I was in trouble, I called out to the Lord, and he answered me when I was deep in the place of the dead. I called out for you to help. So I'm going to give y'all one sneak peek of a fact on the next video. So one sneak peek is that he was basically talking about, like, let's say he thought he was dead. One more thing I want to tell you, a sneak peek about the next one, was he landed on the island Nineveh, where he didn't want to go. So, but God told the whale to spit him out right there. So the whale did, and he landed right in the island of Nineveh. So I'm going to read this bottom part, and then we can go on to the questions. Nineveh was far to the northeast of Israel, and Tarshish was far to the west. God told Jonah to go to Nineveh, but Jonah got on a ship going to Tarshish instead. he went to the opposite direction. This Bible book tells us why, and it tells us what happened to Jonah. So, we're going to do the questions, and then we are going to close out. So, let's see. So, we're going to ask questions, and then I'm going to ask my own questions after I ask a couple of these, just like 2 of them. And then I can ask my own questions just to see if you remember or if you were listening. Alright, so why was this book written? I'm going to actually read that part because if y'all want to answer it, then I'll give y'all 5 seconds. But I want to answer that part because nobody really knows why. But I can give y'all 5 seconds to guess. Alright, time's up, and I'm gonna read it because I don't understand how y'all might know it, but if y'all guess, then y'all can put it in the comments. Alright, so this book shows that God is happy when people stop sinning. He does not punish people if they are sorry for their sins. Okay, so this book is real. This question is personal to y'all. Y'all can tell me in the comments. So, what do we learn about God in this book? So y'all can answer that question for 5 seconds. In 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so if y'all needed more time, then y'all can definitely still type. But y'all can try doing it in 5 seconds. Alright. So now it's my questions. So what did I say about the big G and the lowercase g? I'm going to give y'all 10 seconds this time because it's 2 questions. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so that was 2 questions, so I gave y'all 5 seconds. I'm at 10 seconds. So my other question is that how much days was Jonah sitting in the whale? I'm going to give y'all 5 seconds because it's really easy and I just told y'all. Time's up. Alright, so that's it. What we're going to be doing, if y'all want me to, I'm going to say the other questions. I'm going to save it for the next video. So stay tuned if y'all want to answer some questions and learn more about Jonah in the whale. Well, it's a little bit about Jonah in the whale, but Jonah, the Bible of the story of Jonah. So y'all can definitely stay tuned for the next video, which is what we're probably going to do next week. And I asked my mom, can we do the video at church, basically in 2 days, because I thought that some kids couldn't come to the barbecue cook-off, so we're going to be filming there. So, well, we can be filming there, so we're going to see you next time on Sunday or next week. So, we're going to see y'all later.